What is going on, people? This is your boy Fran 49er, man. Niners all motherfucking day. We happy that y'all here. We happy to be with you guys. This is episode 14. The response has been great. We appreciate you guys. And today we have a packed show. We have a lot of shit to talk about today. Nobody could have ever told me that Raheem Mostert would have requested a trade today. And we had a lot of material, guys. We had like 10 topics, right? And this topic is going to take a lot of time. I love you guys. You guys might not like me tonight because I'm going in on Raheem Mostert. With that being said, we have very special guest dedicated to himself. First-hand experience related to the game that every Niner watch every Sunday. Love and great. This is my guy. This is Eric Crocker. Let's go. What's happening, bro?
What's up, man? What's up?
Hey, man, it is another day, beautiful day, man. The sun is shining. If you could have told me that, the things that would have transpired today was going to happen, man, I would have said that you were lying. But, it is what it is, man. I would like you to go ahead and, shout out your platform, bro, and let the people know, how did you get into doing 49ers content and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm Eric Crocker. You guys can follow me at Eric_Crocker. 49er stuff, man. I mean, for me, it just comes from being a fan. And, like most of the people, watching this like yourself, it was just I love the 49ers. Obviously I played professional football. I was, with the Jets organization for a bit. And, the how you feel in your heart about your team when you grow up, like being, because a fan is a fanatic, you know what I'm saying, and I'm every sense of that with the 49ers. So that doesn't just go away no matter what. Okay, I'm with the New York Jets, whatever. I'm like, I remember being like, dang, tell her, hey man, y'all see Michael Crabtree rupture his Achilles? They're looking at me like, so, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, my bad, y'all. I forgot. Like, I'm actually a 49er fan. So
right.
But once I was done playing and everything, played some years of arena football as well. One thing kind of led to another, and I just would tweet my thoughts. Like any other fan, I try to give a different perspective on certain things. Maybe whether it was a lot of it from a playing perspective, more so than like the actual business side of things. But I think just kind of being involved with it and how I was released, that kind of has helped me better understand how teams kind of, go about the business side of things. So it's kind of helped me and it's kind of made it to a point where, my thoughts and everything like that, people have become more and more intrigued with it. And it's made my platform kind of get bigger. And that's been something really awesome, something I never really thought, would happen. But yeah, man. I'm just like everybody else, though, man. I'm a fan of the Niners, man.
Yeah, man. And definitely, bro, I appreciate your takes, man, because the way that you break down DBs and wide receivers is amazing. And you can tell that you have a special knowledge of the game. It's not a knowledge of just a novice who sits on the couch and watches the game. And I can appreciate that. And especially coming from somebody who actually played the game at a high level. Like, anybody can sit on their couch, bro, and tweet crazy shit and not have any type of idea what it's like to play football at a high level, man. And I really appreciate that from you because you actually played the game at a high level. With that being said, bro, let's get into these topics. Now, this is a topic that's going to take the most. It's going to take the longest, I think. Raheem Mostert, and I didn't even have this on the itinerary. I had like 10 other topics, bro, that I studied and I wrote down and I went into them and I read articles and stuff about them so I could be well versed about them, right? Today, about an hour ago, we get a tweet saying that Raheem Mostert wants to get traded. He want to get traded. He just signed a 3-year, $9 million deal last year. Made $4.4 million last year when you add in the incentive. So he made $1.4 million than he was supposed to, right? Made a name for himself. He did that with the help of Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Man been to 8 different teams. Not 1, not 2, 8. He want more money. How do you feel about that? What is your take on that? I'm going to get your take first because I'm not going to be so nice. I think it's I'm going
well, when I saw it, the first thing I said, and I tweeted it out was, "Get your money, Raheem Mostert." Like, and yeah, that's the first thing I thought of. And like I was telling you before we got on here, how I tend to look at things is more from a player's perspective. If from a roster, like if I'm a GM, like I look at it in a different way, and I understand that part of it too. But from a player's perspective, and I'm looking at it strictly in the way of, why would Raheem Mostert, why would he say these things, or or his agent come out and say, hey, we want to get traded, we want more money, yada yada yada. And these are my reasons. Unlike a lot of other players who are maybe like higher draft picks and whatnot, especially at the running back position, a position that is not really valued much in the league right now. Right. Obviously, the 49ers value it to a certain extent because they've invested a lot of money in not just guys like Tevin Coleman or McKinnon, but also Juice, the fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, where he's making like over $6 million this year or whatever he's making. So they have invested a lot of money into the position. When it comes to a guy like Raheem Mostert, Mostert, like you said, he's been cut and signed several times. Never really had an opportunity. Well, by the time he finally gets his opportunity and he's in the offseason now, he's 28 years old. The shelf life for running backs is not very old, and he's 28 already. So I know, I get it. People are like, well, he just signed a contract last year, a 3-year contract. Well, when that 3-year contract's up, and it was a 3-year, $9 million or 8 point, whatever it was. When that contract's up, like he, now you're on the wrong side of 30, to finally get paid. So Raheem Mostert looks at it, and I added up his stats with the 49ers. Now he it's a small sample size, so I had to add a couple of different years and stuff like that. And I added the playoffs. But with his time with the 49ers, just with the 49ers, which has been like the only time he's really gotten carries, finally got an opportunity.
Right.
230 carries. Now, to put 230 carries, and that's with his time with the 49ers and the playoffs, to put that into perspective, we looked it up ahead of time. Nick Chubb, he had almost 300 carries this year. So Raheem Mostert, only 230 carries. But what he's done with those 230 carries, 1,339 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, 5.8 yards per carry. All really, really, really good. So if I'm Raheem Mostert and I'm looking at it like, look, you guys are paying this guy more than me, this guy more than me. I'm the best running back. I feel like I'm the best guy on this team carrying the rock. You guys want to run a one-cut back in this system. I do it at an extremely high level. I averaged 7.7 yards a carry in 2018, 5 point whatever yards a carry this year in 2019. Broke a record for most rushing yards in a playoff game. Ran for 4 tugs, like 200 yards in the first half. I'm doing everything. And when I wasn't getting the rock, I was the best special team player on the team, probably in the NFC, and one of the best in the entire league. This is my only opportunity to cash in and get a little bit more money. So I've seen the 49ers do right by a lot of people. I think with Mostert and his situation that he's had to fight through being cut time and time again, never really having that big contract, having to work his way up from the bottom. He's done nothing but excel with the 49ers in any role that they put him in. I need a little bit of extra money because this is it for me. I'm not getting any more. I can't play this contract out and I'm going to get some big bread. That's not going to happen for him because he's going to be on the wrong side of 30. So right now, I have an opportunity to cash in on what everybody just remembers. They just saw me run for over 200 and 4 tugs and everything that he did throughout the year. And I didn't even add in his receiving numbers. This is the only opportunity he has to really get money. So from that standpoint, I'm not saying, well, just trade me. And, and I'm pretty sure he would much rather the 49ers get paid. But I bet some of these talks have gone on behind the scenes. And maybe he hasn't gotten the answers that he wanted. And look, obviously he wants to be a Niner. He probably loves them to death because they've given him his first opportunity. But that's all good and dandy. But I need my bread. I need my bread. So that's kind of my take on that.
I mean, this is the thing, bro. And this is why I say trade him. I don't even fucking want him on the 49ers, right? So we talked about this before we even went live. So say me and you are with a company, right? You've been there, but you've been with other companies and you have been highly successful, right? And so you get paid based upon what you have done, right? I come in as a special teams ace, and I have one good year, and then all of a sudden, bro, he went out and said, I want Tevin Coleman money. You bitch ass.
I don't know if he said that, though. We don't know if he said that. That's what his agent is saying.
Bro, he okayed it, bro. That's some sucker shit. You don't never count another man's pockets, bro. I don't want him. I don't want him, bro.
You don't count anybody else's pockets, but from a leverage standpoint, and it's not even so much about Coleman or his agent. That's his agent using his leverage or however he feels like he's got to do it. But from the agent is the mouthpiece. The agent tells guys, hold out. It's not the players. A lot of people think like, oh, it's the players. It's the agent. The agents tell guys, hold out. The agent's saying, look, you guys got this other running back who my guy is better than this dude.
This other running back is the only running back in the NFL who's had 8 combined touchdowns in the previous 4 years, bro, including last year. So the year before that, it was only him and like 5 other players in the whole NFL who averaged 8 touchdowns a year for 3 previous years. So he's getting paid based off of what he's done. Raheem Mostert, like Bernie Mac used to say, rest in peace to Bernie Mac. You ain't nothing. Dude, all you do is spin records. That's all you do. Now, Kyle Shanahan has turned undrafted guys into starters, bro. Like I don't know, bro. You don't call your teammates. Do you see how that's gonna look in the locker room? Guys gonna be looking at him like, bro, what type of is
They not. I probably say that.
I know if I was Tico, bro, I'm gonna run up on him. And he gonna see me. If I'm Tico, he gonna see me, bro.
In the locker room, dudes don't care. They just want everybody to get paid. So
you're saying that you agree with that shit, bro? You saying that's some weird shit?
I would say something like, hey man, tell your agent chill out. I would say something like that.
Or you
I wouldn't take it personal at all with Mostert, because it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I know you got to get paid. You know what I'm saying? And at the end, in the running back room, these dudes are all cool. They all buddies. So
until you start counting my pockets, bro, and try to put me out as
I don't know if it's him counting pockets or the agent. And the agent, that's the agent's job, though. Like the agent's job is to count other players' pockets to develop some type of leverage for his guy. Like it's not my job as a running back in the room. I'm not gonna speak on this next man's money, but my agent might, because that's his job. He has to create some type of leverage, and whether it's between guys on my team or other guys around the league. Because what they gonna do with George Kittle? Well, Travis Kelce makes this much. Travis
Kelce not on the team in the same locker room, bro.
I know, but it's still counting another man's pocket. It's all the same. You use other guys as leverage for your guy to get paid. And I'm not saying I would do it or the next or you, but I bet you your agent would be looking at what McKinnon signed for.
My agent, bro, I have to go in the locker room with this man every day, bro, for 4 months at a time. We're going into the playoffs, so this is a long stretch, maybe 6 months. I have to go and see this man every day in the locker room, bro. I don't need that type of energy from my teammate. That's like my brother. Like,
I know, that's an easy. Hey, that was my agent. Adrian. Yeah, no, I knew, bro.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the only. In this squash, and it's done. Everybody chilling.
I mean, but at the same time, if I'm George Kittle, right, and Raheem Mostert is 1 year into his new deal, right, he gets an extension because he threw a pity party or whatever, and he's mad and he feels like bro, I don't feel like we owe you shit. As a matter of fact, bro, go get you a surfer. Go get you some endorsements from the surfing company, bro. We don't owe you shit. We gave you a lifeline, bro. You lucky to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. George Kittle is the guy. Raheem Mostert does not measure up to that. So you're sitting back in your George Kittle and they extend you after 1 year in your contract. Do you know what George is going to say? I don't care how much money. It could be for $1 million extra dollars, but it's 1.5 or 2, whatever the case may be that he wants. George is going to be pissed. Best believe that. I don't give a damn what nobody says.
George's not going to get pissed because George is going to get paid regardless. There's whatever happens with Mostert has literally nothing to do with George Kittle. George Kittle's going to get paid. All they have to do is figure out a way to agree on the amount and the structure of it. George Kittle's getting paid regardless. There's nothing that anything can happen with anybody else on the team right now.
But George,
stop George Kittle from getting paid.
It gives George and his agent more leverage. They're like, hey man, this dude, he ain't even all pro or a Pro Bowler.
That's peanuts. 1 year into that's peanuts. We talking about upping somebody, $1 million or $2 million. Kittle's gonna get paid.
bro, but it's the principle though. Do you it's like I've been an all-pro Pro Bowler for 2 years, the best. I was just voted the day for yesterday. I was literally I think it was yesterday. He was voted the best tight end in the NFL. And that's how what y'all gonna stand this dude?
No, he's gonna get paid. Kittle's not tripping off that. It was like, remember, what was it, like 2 years ago when the Rams, they signed like Gurley, they signed Brandon Cooks, and what they end up doing at the end of the day, yeah, these guys gonna get paid or whatever. Aaron Donald said, "Oh, it's cool. I'm gonna be waiting," and they made him the highest defensive player paid in the league. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, them dudes, they still gonna get the bread. George Kittle, whatever happens with Mostert, you get go ahead, get your little extra million or whatever. It's not gonna stop Kittle from being the highest paid tight end in the league.
Yeah.
And
this is what's funny, bro. Like we have guys, like we got one guy in the chat right now saying Kyle and John will not trade Mostert. That would be foolish. Do they not know who Kyle Shanahan is?
It's not foolish. The 49ers, okay. I say all this.
Know who Kyle Shanahan is?
Yeah.
They know who Kyle Shanahan is?
I say everything that I've said about the player side and how I would look at it if I was Raheem Mostert. From the 49ers perspective, they can 100% win without Coleman. Now, I mean not Coleman, excuse me, without Mostert. Without Mostert. They can 100% win without Mostert. Where Mostert really helps is, you know what? We do have that guy. He's a legit game breaker. His averages prove that, and the way he runs is really weird. But the way he runs, man, he hurts guys' angles. You know what I'm saying? Like when he gets through the little hole, his angles, you'll see guys end up running into each other because they're not taking the proper angles because he gets through holes so fast.
Correct.
Now, it's a very unique running style. It's not a sexy running style. It's definitely not my favorite running style, but it's very effective for him. And if the 49ers trade him away or whatever, they can still be effective with other guys. You just lose a little bit of explosiveness.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, we were talking about, Salvin Ahmed before the show starts. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Portland, Oregon. Been here for a few years, on and off my whole life, right? I watched this young man play. They run the same zone stretch scheme that we run. He is an amazing talent. I don't know how he didn't get drafted. Like, I don't know what happened, but like from 0 to 100, he goes real quick, right? When you're talking about picking a hole and cutting and putting your foot down and getting upfield, like he's extremely explosive. He runs a 4.32. JaMychal Hasty, he runs routes like a wide receiver out of the backfield. Undrafted free agents. I mean, look what we did with Matt Breida. Look what we did with Jeff Wilson Jr. Like, we just take undrafted guys and they turn into Pro Bowlers. Mostert, I don't care. Like, we got Kyle Shanahan, baby. We just got Trent Williams. Do people understand how much better our offensive line is going to be with Trent Williams and then person going and Brunskill starting at guard now? Like, people just don't understand. Like, everybody's about to eat this season. So I don't really care about Mostert. You know what I'm saying? So all of the Mostert apologists and y'all could be mad at me. Y'all could dislike the video, but I don't care. Trade him. If you come out and say you want to be traded, you don't want to be on this team, I don't want you here.
I don't think it's that he doesn't want to be on the team. Remember, your agent.
But once you say,
remember, your agent, like they talk to other agents around the league. They talk to teams, general managers and stuff like that. So a lot of times it's the agent looking out for the best interest of his client. That's all that is. So when you see somebody request a trade, a lot of times it's not the player saying, well, they can just trade me. They don't want to pay me. It's typically the agent saying, look, we can get you paid somewhere else or whatever. I've been talking with this team, or, this guy, this manager. We can work something out. They'll give you a $2 million bump that you want. And again, he's 28 years old. He's probably an undrafted guy, been cut several times. He's never been in position to cash in and be able to take care of his family. He got young kids. He has a wife, all that and the other. He wants to, the best way I could take care of my family. And if it's right now, and if I get traded, and that'll help me more in the long run with my family's success or whatever as far as money goes, then yeah. Because again, the NFL, man, it's a business. I got cut because Joe McKnight had a concussion and Chris Ivory sprained his ankle and they had to release somebody to sign the running back to get ready for the game, and I was cut. So it's like it's a business. They don't care about you. They don't care about you, dude. It's a business and it's cutthroat. And if they look at somebody where they can just release, that's probably stuff that happened with Mostert along the way. Probably little situations like that where, this player got hurt or suspended and we can't cut that player or put them on IR, so we have to release somebody from a different position.
Okay. All right.
Space. You know what I'm saying?
Let's solve the problem.
I'm looking at it from his perspective.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it from the team's perspective. And this is a really good thing that we're doing because we're getting it from a player's perspective and we're getting it from what's best for the team. So I think it's really good because there's people in the chat and that's watching right now that is totally on Mostert's side, right? And I'm not here to say you guys are wrong because I would be an asshole, right? Everybody has the right to their opinion, you guys, and that's what I want you guys to know. When you watch the Niners all day, you have the right to your opinion. I'm not saying you don't. What I'm saying is I'm more of the team side because it's brick by brick and it's about the team, right? Now, let's get to the solution. So we can't go into the salary cap, Raheem, but this is what we can do. If you are a Pro Bowler, we can give you $1 million. If you get over 1,000 yards, Raheem, we can give you 500. We can give you 500,000. If you get over, what do you have? A total of 14, 15 touchdowns if you add the receiving touchdowns. So if you get over 10 combined touchdowns, we give you another $1 million. Like, this problem can be settled. That's what I loved about Richard Sherman, right? He went in, he said, F the agent. I'm betting on myself. I'm my own agent. Him and his wife were basically, his wife was in his meetings with him. So they were basically the agents for his deal. He bet on himself. Raheem, just bet on yourself, bro. Like, you can get money. We just can't give you the money on the salary cap because you know that George Kittle is the most important person that needs to be resigned, bro. Like, why would it's just like, bro, hey man, I know y'all remember Mike Singletary, and I'm gonna give you his words.
I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team. And we cannot make decisions that cost the team and then come off the sideline and it's nonchalant. No, you know what? This is how I believe. Okay, I'm from the old school.
From the old school, I believe it is.
I would rather play with 10 people.
10.
And just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with them.
Cannot play with them.
Cannot
win with them.
Cannot coach
with them. Can't do it. Bye, Raheem. All right, bro. So we on to the next topic. The next topic is everybody was complaining about Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. Whoa, Patrick Mahomes, $503 million. In his contract, Patrick Mahomes has $337 million in incentives, right? His roster bonuses throughout the years. First year is 22 million. Second year is 27 million. Third year is 34 million. Fourth year is 34 million. Fifth year is 38 million. Sixth year is 38 million. Seventh year, 49 million. Eighth year, 30 million. Ninth year, 23 million. 10th year, 22 million. 11th year, $42 million. Now, with that being said, do you see this as a blueprint to other teams getting high-priced players on the roster? Because the roster bonus is basically you go to training camp, you make it through training camp, that's your roster bonus. So do you see this as a mechanism that other teams will use to keep guys on the team?
Teams have been doing that. I remember being with the Jets and not counting other man's pockets. Like, I'm pretty sure he'll tell you. But I remember Cromartie had like a $200,000 workout bonus. So it's like as long as he comes to OTAs, here $200,000 check. So teams have been doing stuff like that to get guys involved and showing up for certain things. With your quarterback, your quarterback's going to be there regardless. I think I've only seen a couple cases. I think Tom Brady last year didn't go to OTAs, or he goes on his vacation with his family or something. But it's very rarely do you see something like that, especially with quarterbacks. So they're just finding different ways to pay him and kind of just give him money and stuff. There were certain things that is like it's gonna be hard to reach the full 500 million, where it was like he'd have MVP, he gets like $1 million for every MVP, he basically gets like $1 million boost. And then for every like Super Bowl win or something like that, he gets like $1 million boost. So, if he does those in the same year, that's a $2 million boost. If he does that over all the years in his contract, that's over $20 million.
Right.
Which he probably not going to do, but
right.
It's just different ways to kind of give him incentives and stuff to where he can really cash in and maximize on this contract. And it really low key is like a team friendly deal. The
Super
way it's kind of set up, because most likely he's not going to reach 500 million.
Right.
So I like the way they did it. Yeah. He's a special player, very unique talent. So I wouldn't think that no matter how much he gets paid, kind of like Kittle. I think whatever Kittle gets paid, that's still not going to set the market for a tight end. Right. I still think people are going to, other tight ends coming along are going to still fall a little bit short of that.
Right.
And I think it's even more unique situation with Mahomes, because this is not normal what he's doing. His first year starting, 50 touchdown passes,
5,000 yards,
5,000 yards, NFL MVP, second year starting, missed some games where he would have been over 5,000 again, probably a crazy amount of touchdowns, takes his team, overcomes a 24-0 deficit to the Texans, plays the 49ers, down 10 points, ends up, leading his team to 21 points in the fourth quarter and winning the Super Bowl.
Let's not say that.
I'm just saying, like, as far as like
Williams had a lot to do with that.
Because he had
Jones.
Williams. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't, but I'm saying he still had to do some things in the end, and he didn't play perfect that game. I think Garoppolo probably even played better, but he made a couple throws. But even then, what he's kind of put together is he's on a very special trajectory with his career. It's almost some freaky stuff that we haven't really seen. Even with guys he might remind you of, like a Aaron Rodgers or like a Brett Favre. Brett Favre, remember, he got traded, from the Falcons. He wasn't this fast. So when you start looking at the trajectory of these guys, even with Peyton Manning to the Colts, it took a while. He threw a crazy amount of interceptions
and picks in the first 6 years.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? it wasn't this. So when you look at the trajectory this dude is on and how dangerous he is and how dangerous he makes an offense, even if you start losing players here and there, he's still more than likely going to make your team keep your team extremely competitive. So it's a crazy amount of money, but I wouldn't expect anybody else's contracts to still look like this. Not Lamar Jackson's, not Deshaun Watson's, not who are the quarterbacks from that class? Definitely not Mitchell Trubisky. I wouldn't expect anybody else's to look like that. So crazy amount. He deserves it though.
Yeah, and I just brought that up because I think that this is the reason why people should stop worrying about salary cap, right? There's ways to work around it. Bonuses and incentives do not count against salary cap. So when this, like, they literally had $177 of cap at one time, and then they restructured Sammy Watkins, and they signed this massive contract with like $6 million in the salary cap. So this is why I think we as 49ers fans should not worry about the cap so much, because there's all kinds of bonuses that you can give to a guy just for showing up. So I think that was something to touch on, just to touch on that. Another topic. So to release the Tease Tabor, and we signed Jamar Taylor. Do you know anything about this guy?
No, I remember him starting for the Browns, but I think it was when they were really bad. So he's not really a player that I think anybody's ever really paid too much attention to.
Right.
I think ultimately, when you kind of look at it, it's the 49ers are in a situation right now where there's not much fluff in the names behind, Mosley, Sherman, even Witherspoon, and then you lose DJ Reed. So now you start looking at it, it's like, well, who else do the 49ers have? Yeah, a couple, you didn't see Harris last year, the cornerback from Virginia. They put him on IR, which I think that was just a way to kind of keep him on the roster, because I didn't think he was going to make it at all.
He looks good.
and then you have you got an undrafted kid this year out of yeah. So you have some guys, and you just bring in other guys for I don't want to say camp bodies, but it's a veteran guy. He's been on several teams. He might come in and last year, remember, I mean, they were bringing in Dante Johnson.
Yeah.
In the middle of the year. So I think it's kind of a signing like that to where you just see what what is he going, what are we going to get from the other guys? I think he's more insurance for the rookie and the kid last year from Virginia. I think he's more insurance for those guys. If they don't pan out, then yeah, he's somebody that they can, they can kind of lean on him to be a fourth corner on the roster.
Yeah. Okay, man. So the NFL, Barack Niner, bro. What type of weirdo shit is this? Like, I mess with my brothers on NBN, but they ain't on for another 30 minutes, bro. Like, if you want to go. The platform's gonna go with or without you. If you want to go, get your ass up out of here, bro. Like, for real, don't come on here with that weird ass shit, bro. Sucker. Anyways, so the NFLPA, yeah, I'll blast you real quick. I don't care. Like, the platform's gonna grow with or without you. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to go, get the fuck out of here. Period. So the NFLPA, man. So first we went from 4 games to 2 games. Then the NFLPA decided they're going to agree with the league, and they canceled all 4 games. Now, there was a study that was done, and the NFLPA president J.C. Tretter, he says that Achilles injuries doubled. Hamstring injuries went up 44% in the 2011 lockout season. How do you think that this is going to affect the whole team, the NFL?
Yeah, it's definitely you'll see. I would assume that you'll see a lot more soft tissue injuries, OTAs and stuff like that. You're building they bring you along slowly. It starts off with just you go from the start is just. So I gotta tell you guys kind of how OTAs works. So when you get to OTAs for the first like 2 weeks, it's you come in, and depending on what unit you are, but we'll just say from defensive side, we come in, we hit the weights for an hour, we go outside, we do agility training, conditioning and stuff like that for an hour, and then you grab your smoothie, your shake, and little snack or whatever, head into the film room, and then you're in there for 2 hours. So for the first couple of weeks, that's all you do 4 days a week. You're only really there for maybe 5 hours. You're not really there for that long. Okay. So then after the first couple of weeks, they start doing more like walkthroughs and stuff like that. So they start incorporating walkthroughs and things like that. And then they build up to actually practicing where, you still do your film. You do like light lifts and stuff like that, but you do more like practice and stuff like that. So it's kind of like OTAs builds your body up to kind of prepare you for, guys going to the off season. They go home before training camp and you train with your trainers or whoever for the next month or so. But you've been building your body up for this to be able to withhold a vigorous training regimen and all that. And they send you home with things that they want you to train on and stuff like that to prepare you for your conditioning test and all that. And then from there, you go into training camp. Your body is ready for that. You went through OTAs. They bring you along slowly. It starts to anticipate and kind of get a little bit more extreme and whatnot. And then you train at home for a little bit, and then boom, your training camp, where training camp is all go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right now, guys have missed all of off-season OTAs.
Man,
you don't know how guys have been training. When you're there, you got to train like that. You got to work hard, right? You go through the steps. They bring you along slowly. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be trying to force their way to get in shape and do 4 or 5 months worth of training. They're going to try to do 4 or 5 months worth of training and try to condense that into 3-4 weeks.
48 days, bro.
And they're gonna come into training camp. They're gonna try to push themselves. There's gonna be more injuries. There's gonna be guys because training camp it's intense in the sense of every rep matters. So you're going all out every rep, especially if you're not a guy. I wasn't Cromartie. I'm on the team with Cromartie. He
Right.
getting paid.
Oh, you were there with Revis too, right?
I was there with Revis at first, and then he got traded to Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't there the whole time. When I first showed up for OTAs, he was there. He actually held out for a little bit, and then he reported. He was there for a little bit, but he was rehabbing from a torn ACL from the previous year.
I remember that.
And then, but I saw him doing like some workouts. Obviously, we're in the meetings together and stuff. And then next, boom, he's traded. So I wasn't there that long. But Cromartie, D. Milliner, who was drafted 9th overall, I'm not those guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything I put on film, it all matters, or they'll get my ass the hell out of there. So there's a lot of guys, you have to approach it in that way. And if you haven't been building up your for that, you're gonna see a lot of injuries.
Oh man, that's the only thing that scares me, bro. But it's I guess it's a part of the game. Man, this has been a horrible year, bro. This has really been a horrible year. All right, man. So we on to the next subject. Fred Warner's contract was voted and named the most team-friendly deal by Bleacher Report. That's amazing. Parag Marate is a genius. Now Fred Warner's coming up, right? I think he should have been a Pro Bowler last year. I think he's in top 5 as far as linebackers. They're still boating in guys. I don't even want to say his name. That chump up there in Seattle. Not going to say his name. We cooked his ass. He gave up 894 yards to tight ends last year. Biden, you're not that guy anymore. What do you think that Fred Warner's contract is going to look like? I mean, can you put out like a figure that you think he will ask for? What do you think? What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, it should be good. It'll probably look something like Quan Alexander's look, and maybe a little bit more guaranteed money or something, but maybe along the same amount kind of dollars. You never know though, because I think the other linebacker that went to the was it Mosley, the one that came from the Ravens,
to the Jets.
Yeah, he signed kind of big money, right?
57 million.
So maybe it's something like that. Marate's really good with kind of structuring things to where it ends up being more team friendly than what it looks like. But even at the end of the day, it's only team friendly because a lot of times they have outs. So if a player plays out the contract, it's not really team friendly, right? Like we're looking at Quan Alexander. He makes a big chunk of money, and as long as he's on the team, he's making a big chunk of money. The only difference is they have outs in the contract. So I think with Fred Warner, it'll be something like that where it'll be a good amount of money. I don't think there's any way around paying him and it not be big money, especially if right now he's on guys' radars. Yeah, he was a snub and stuff like that, but a lot of times guys, if they don't come into a season with that real hype, then people see it, then it's like, oh damn, okay, well we'll get to him next year if he does it again.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen with him as far as Pro Bowls and All Pros and things like that. But money wise, 49ers they're going to take care of him. It just when you're playing that position, kind of like George Kittle, linebacker is a position where you don't make a ton of money. But I think he might do some big things. We'll see what kind of season he ends up having. And if he continues being the guy he's been, man, they're gonna have to take care of him. There's a lot of guys that got to get paid. Yeah,
man. And this is how I knew that Fred Warner had really reached his pinnacle. So even though he lost this game, it was against the Baltimore Ravens, right? And he was all over the field. He almost had an interception. He had multiple pass breakups. He had tackles for loss. He had a sack. And I literally seen Baltimore Ravens fans tweet and say, whoever Fred Warner is, he's the real deal. And that's how I knew, he's the guy, bro. You really don't get that from other teams when you're playing against them during that time. And that was like a nail-biter game. And when I seen that, I was like, yeah, bro, he's there. When I seen that, I was like, okay, now he's in Pro Bowl, right? He should be a Pro Bowler. So yeah, man, I thought that was just a good topic to talk about.
It's gonna come, and even you really start to see it too when teams start winning. Because the year before he did some cool things. I remember he had some really nice plays in space against Odell Beckham in the game where the 49ers ended up losing. It was Monday Night Football, he had some really good plays in open field against Odell. People don't really remember that, and it doesn't really stand out because 49ers were a bad team. Now you start seeing the 49ers get better. The things he does starts to get more, magnified, and he, ends up getting a lot more love. Like you said, they asked whoever this Fred Warner guy is. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of guys, people, it's like, who is the guy? And I think now he's kind of arrived, and now it's just take it to the next level.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Okay, so let's see. This next subject is basically it's a tough one, right? Because I don't like to pin players up against each other, right? But from your perspective, man, who is more important re-signing next year, K'Wan Williams or Kwaski T, and why?
If I'm the 49ers, right? I'm the coaches, and I have to figure out who would I rather sign? I would rather sign Jaquiski Tartt because in the slot, as well as K'Wan Williams, and y'all know I'm a cornerback guy, as long as well as K'Wan Williams has played, I know there's another guy in Emmanuel Moseley who is really good in that nickel spot. And I saw it in the preseason, and I was telling guys, I saw it at training camp in one-on-ones, he's guarding guys in the slot extremely well. I saw him training camp in preseason. He not only covered guys well in the slot, but I saw him play in space and understand the zone concepts extremely well. So we saw this with the Denver Broncos for a bunch of years, where they had their outside corners, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr. And then when they went nickel, they brought in Roby and slid Harris in the slot. And I could see something like that, the 49ers doing something if, as long as it, so I'd have that flexibility to do that. So I would keep, as well as I think K'Wan Williams has played, and I think he's one of the best slots in the league. Tartt, I still think that he has a lot of value. I think he's really good at what he does, and you might not have to pay him as much money. I'd keep Tartt, and I have more flexibility with a guy like Moseley being able to play in the nickel and still have my outside corners.
I'm highly surprised, bro, because I know you're a corner guy. Like, that's your thing. Like, you break down cornerbacks and wide receivers, bro. Like, that's what you do. You're a cornerback guy. Like, I'm highly surprised.
If I didn't have as much confidence in Moseley playing in the slot as I do, then I would probably go a different way. I probably would go with, all right, keep him. But I do feel like that last year. There are people, if you guys remember, I tweeted this out, and I maybe I could have been wrong, but I remember saying, hey, I really like this Moseley guy in the slot. If the 49ers could trade Williams and get something for him, I would do it. And I'm good with Spoon, Sherman, and Moseley in the slot because I thought Moseley was that good in that nickel. So that's why I'm just confident in Moseley playing in that nickel spot. That's why I'm so yeah. So that's why. Yeah.
Okay. Now with that being said, right, we see and Trey, one of my brothers, man, he just made a good point, right? He said Tartt is the bigger need. Did you see what we looked like when he didn't play in the Saints game? And we did, right? Like and Harris and I love Harris. Marcel Harris is a baller in the box. Like the Saints game, he gave up some big plays, but at the same time, he had a sack. He had I think he helped.
Yeah.
And he had 2 tackles for loss. Like Marcel Harris, and he had a 76 PFF that game. He balled, but we just couldn't stop the pass for nothing without Kwaski. So
I don't think it was just Tartt. Like, yeah, I think you can kind of like look at that when you look at it on paper. But I think not having D Ford, I think that has something to do with it. I think some of the teams that we played against, is like, well, you're playing against Drew Brees. He's extremely prolific. He's probably good with his eyes. He's not just throwing for a lot of yards against the Niners. Like, he's doing that against every team, no matter who they have in their secondary. So right. I think you have to look at some of that too. We played against Matt Ryan. Like, Matt Ryan's hella good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even then, Marcel Harris was out there against the Falcons. They only threw for 200 yards. Right. And the bulk of that came on the last drive. So It's like Marcel Harris, he was the victim in the Saints game, and I still think he made some plays. But I thought for the most part, he was solid. And I think, like, I'm looking at Trey, and he's like, "Nah, he's terrible versus the pass." I don't think he's bad against the pass. I think that game,
like,
I think that game,
you can coach up, bro.
Yeah, I think that game, maybe there were some plays where maybe the Saints knew how to take advantage of him and put him in a vulnerable position. I don't know. I'm just saying, if that was the case. But I think overall, if you really look at every game that Marcel Harris has played in, he has not been the issue playing in coverage. He hasn't been terrible in coverage from what I've seen.
Right.
I never looked at a game and was just like, God damn, get Marcel Harris out of there. I've said that about other guys. I've never said that about Marcel Harris. And he makes a lot of plays in the run games. He doesn't give up any leak yards because he's coming downhill. And he made a bunch of plays of line of scrimmage in multiple games. There was a lot of things that went unnoticed with Marcel Harris. I thought he played very, very well.
Hey, so this is another thing. K'Wan Williams snaps tripled Marcel Harris. Do you know how? So K'Wan Williams had 4 first fumbles, right? Marcel Harris had 3. And not in half of the snaps, in a quarter of the snaps. Who makes plays, bro? People got to put that in perspective. Like,
I think it's a narrative that he's bad against the pass, and I think a lot of it started with the Saints game. But I don't think Marcel Harris is bad versus the pass. I don't think that he's like a big issue. And I think maybe if there are little things that he can learn and stuff like that, I think the more snaps he gets, I think he could be better at that. A lot of stuff sometimes it just comes from experience. You imagine you getting thrusted into a position. It's my first start of the year, and I'm lining up and I'm playing against Drew Brees and goddamn Cook, who's hella good at tight end, and all these dudes, and I have to be on point with everything I do against a guy like Sean Payton, who's one of the top 3 play callers in the NFL. Like that's a tough spot for somebody in their first start of the year, and to think that this guy is just going to be excellent. But I thought for the most part, I didn't think that he was an issue in the games that he played, especially outside of that Saints game.
Right. So with that being said, right, would you trade a first and Tart for Jamal Adams? Let's go. And since he didn't want to go, get your ass out of here. You can go with him.
Yeah. I mean, I think like me from the standpoint of I think the more better players you have, the more games you're gonna win. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Adams is an extremely good football player, and I think that what he does, he's kind of a version of Tart and does it at an extremely high level. But I just think from the standpoint of losing draft capital, which 49ers haven't had many draft picks lately, and you kind of want to keep that going, having draft picks, having guys. The money aspect of it, you're gonna have to pay him top safety money in the league, if not make him the highest paid safety in the league. I think from that standpoint, it's a little tough to trade for him, especially when I think Tart, man, I think he's a good football player, and maybe he's not some elite guy, but I think Tart's a good football player, so I'm not willing to give up all that.
Bro, we just went over this though at the beginning of the show, right? There's a quarterback who just got a $500 million contract. $337 million of that contract is roster bonuses. That's make it through training camp and you get this money, and it doesn't count against the cap. We can do the same thing with Jamal.
I think it is going to count. It's not all of it is not. You're not able to not have go against the cap.
No, roster bonuses do not count against the cap, bro. It's considered an incentive. They broke David Lombardi. I know you got him on Twitter, right? David Lombardi, he broke down the entire contract compared to his roster bonuses and his actual cap hit. Like next year, he gets the $27 million roster bonus, right? But only $12 million of his contract counts against the cap. That roster bonus is an incentive. It does not count against cap. Incentives do not count against cap. They don't.
Yeah, I gotta look at it because I know you can't. I know they can't let somebody just put that much money into roster bonuses and it not count at all against the cap. It's got to count. Somehow it's got to count. Somehow.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, bro. They broke it. Damn, I wish I could. It would take me too long to find it. Grant Cohn retweeted it. David Lombardi wrote it. I mean, there's a lot of people who was talking about it, and they broke it down versus his numbers versus the actual cap hit. But we'll definitely figure it out, bro. We'll see what's happening. Today we also had a good gesture in the bad news, and that was Trent Taylor. We seen him running some routes where he was really having to dig into the ground and push off his feet. Did you get to see that video?
Nah, I saw like a tweet but I didn't see any videos of him.
Bro, his push off and his get off the line and his route running looks extremely crisp.
Hey, you know what about Trent Taylor, man? I know people look at him as just this little, typical slot little white dude and stuff like that. But Trent Taylor, he caught for like 1,600 yards his last year at La Tech. Like
he has
1,700 yards. There's a lot. He was an explosive player in that way. I watched him last year in training camp. I thought he was the best receiver in training camp. He looked really, really good. He was the one that they could count on the most. He caught the most balls and was making the most plays, and it was devastating to see him, get hurt and miss the rest of the year. He is somebody that definitely can play a very key, because it looks like the quarterback has a really good rapport with him. I saw them forcing a rapport with Pettis, and it wasn't there. They never were able to get on the same page. Right. I thought with Trent Taylor, they had something where they had a really good connection, and it was very consistent. And it was, it sucked to see him lose. So I know you're talking about, but I wanted to kind of throw that in there. He was somebody. I wouldn't go John Taylor. I'm looking at the comments. I don't know. John Taylor was a speedster. He's not a speedster. He's not really running away from anybody, man. But he does his role. Even Wes Welker originally had good speed, but Trent Taylor, he's really good at what he does, and man, he can really carve out his own little role with this roster, man.
He can, yeah. All right, bro. So since we're talking about wide receivers, there's another topic I wanted to see. What wide receivers make the team? We're gonna go with 7. We're gonna go with 7 and not instead of 6 because
they've also boosted the roster number, right? Exactly. So you might even see teams keep 8 receivers now.
Yeah.
And I think you can have maybe another player or so on active. Mm-hmm. So I think you might see teams keep more receivers.
But that one player has to be one of them has to be offensive lineman.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them has to be offensive lineman. So it went from 53 to 55. One has to be an offensive lineman, and then the other one is to your choosing and your liking of whatever you want to do.
All right, so I'm going 7, and let's just say for this exercise, it's not including injuries. So, we're talking, okay, all things being equal, what 7 do I think the 49ers keep? This is not taking into account that Deebo Samuel is hurt or Richie James is hurt. All right, so if we're talking about 7, I would say off rip you got Deebo.
Right.
Off rip you got Kendrick Bourne.
Right.
Off rip you have Brandon Ayuk. Those 3 locks, like 100% locks.
Locks.
All right. So now I need 4 more guys. All right. And we have a good amount of guys that can really kind of push for this spot. All right. Yep. But I'm gonna go with I got 4 guys. I'm gonna go with Trent Taylor. I think a healthy Trent Taylor, he makes it. So that's 4. So I'm at 4 guys right now. All right. I think Jalen Hurd, healthy. Think he makes it. All right. Sounds like he's doing good. Looks good. Looks like a freak. He is. He's very intriguing. I was watching him when he was at Baylor. I was watching after 49ers drafting him. I'm like, this is not a normal guy the way he moves at his size.
He's not.
He's not going to take the top off of a defense, but I think if he can get more comfortable with contested catches, which he's going from in 1 year, he went from always catching passes out the backfield to always having to try to catch the ball with somebody on him. So he was a little inconsistent there, and I think his contested catch rate wasn't as high as you would like. But I do think that's something that he can improve on with more reps. So I got 5 guys, right? I got that I think are locks, or not locks, but who I'm saying first 3 are locks with who I think Debo, Bourne, and Ayuk. And then I got Trent Taylor and I got Hurd. So I need 2 more guys. And those two more guys, one, I'm gonna go with Benjamin, where I don't think that
people be sleeping on Benjamin.
Yeah.
They be sleeping, bro.
I don't think that he's somebody that you 100% have to keep, but I do think that he brings something a little different, even if it's not a ton, like even if you don't use it a ton, but you're using it in spurts, but his ability to kind of stretch the field, I think that's something that you definitely could, people always, you can use that. Also as a return man, I'm not saying he's going to come in and have some great numbers, but I think, his veteran, ability, I don't think he's what he was early in his career, but I still think, you can dial up some things for him here and there. Yeah. Even if it's once or twice a game, I think he can excel in those roles, and we know exactly what we're getting from him. So I'm going to go with him. And then with the last position, the last spot, there's obviously different ways. I really like Richie James, but he's not going to make it. But I really like him.
Yeah.
I think he just hasn't really had the opportunity a lot like Mostert throughout his career, where Mostert, it's like, dude, I just need an opportunity. And we saw his opportunities last year. Richie James had 6 catches, over 100 yards,
he averaged 27. He averaged 26.5 yards a reception.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, bro, what y'all want me to do? I'm top 5 in returns as far as punt returning. I know people complain a lot of times, but I thought he was
top 10 in kick return.
He was extremely reliable with his hands. Fielding punts. He was really good at, because that's the first and foremost. When you're a return guy, they just want you to catch the ball, field punts. That's first and foremost. So if you fair catch every time, or whatever, but we need you to be sure-handed. He was that. I think he was extremely good at taking what they give him. So he didn't have a lot of it. I think he had a couple of explosive returns in the playoffs, but throughout the year, he didn't have a lot of explosive returns. But he had a lot of returns to where I'm going to take what I can get. So whether it's 5 yards, 6 yards, I think he ended up averaging like 9 yards. So he had some other. He was really consistent with that. So again, didn't have the big returns. Had a big one that really changed the game against I'm going to say maybe Seattle the year before. Obviously, he had to return for a touchdown. But I think last year, Rams. Rams scored in the second game, and then he came back with a long kick return to like the 8-yard line.
Yeah.
So it sucks for me to not keep him, but I'm gonna go with for the last spot. It's between obviously Jennings and Pettis. I'm gonna go Pettis. I know a lot of people aren't going. But I think there's. I don't know which Pettis I'm gonna get, but if I get who I've seen him be, I've seen it, dude. He's got everything. I know, he's a cat guy. Say he's missing that dog. I saw him in the locker room. I thought his confidence, you could just see somebody putting their stuff on. I'm like,
yeah.
You don't even put your clothes on with confidence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even. But if he can just kind of get that bounce back, he's had some moments, man, where you see it all. You see the big time separation. I don't think anybody gets separation like him on the Niners. I think he is able to win at all aspects, all levels of the field, whether it's a slant, whether it's a dig, whether it's a post. He can stretch the field vertically. There's a lot of things we haven't done with him yet, but he can do all that. Saw the big play against the Seahawks when Nick Mullins threw him that post and he outran everybody to the end zone. There's a lot of things that he can do really good. He got to find that confidence and kind of get out of his own head. If he can do that, we're talking about a receiving core that's going to be really, really, really dangerous. But I know a lot of people are writing him off. I don't want to write him off yet just because I think that he's really talented, and he's shown it. Like, if he didn't show me at all, like, say if it was like a AJ Jenkins situation where he ended his time with the Niners maybe having like one career catch, if it were something like that, then I'd say whatever. But we've seen how good he can be.
Right.
He was one of the most productive receivers down the stretch his rookie year. He was good. Like, it was like I saw it. Like, you can't take that from my memory. I saw him be really good.
Right.
So, yeah, I see somebody say that's a big if. And it is. It's a big if.
Yeah, that's fair.
He can get back to what I saw. That's a really good receiver.
Yeah,
that's a really good receiver. So
most definitely.
I'm going with Pettis, and I know guys want to go with Jennings, and I get it. He's a big body, he's tough and stuff like that.
It's a short season. Yeah, it's a short season.
I don't think I need him, especially if I've heard. If I don't have Hurd, then yeah, we'll go ahead. But I got Hurd, and I like a little bit more what Hurd brings to the table. I think he's way more elusive with his route running and able to create separation. I think Hurd has more twitch. Hurd has more speed. Obviously, Hurd does a lot of things better. That's why he was a 3rd round pick and not a 6th or 7th round pick. Right. So, that's what.
Yeah, man. And I see so many people posting like, man, Juwan Jennings is going to be this and that. And it's like, bro, they have 48 days to prepare for the fucking season. This guy knows no terminology. He doesn't know how to run the routes that Kyle. He doesn't know. He might know how to run them, but he doesn't know how to run them like Jimmy or Kyle wants him to run them. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that he has to know, that he has to get comfortable with. I just don't see Jennings doing that, and I don't.
Even with Ayuk, it's cool to see Ayuk out there working with guys and starting to understand the terminology and stuff like that. That's going to be really big because he didn't have OTAs. I'm not expecting much out of any rookie receivers this year in the NFL. And I think if 49ers can, what the 49ers going to have to do, and it's tough, if they really want something out of Ayuk, you just got to throw them in there and just, all right, from day one, you're going to start and you got to pick this shit up and you better really learn it. And, and it's going to be really hard. Head's going to be spinning, but that's the only way. If I had to bet on it, I would say your day one starters for training camp would be Kendrick Bourne and Dante Pettis because they know it. They know more than anybody else, like as far as being outside guys or Z's and X and stuff like that, Bourne and Pettis, they know it. And again, that's without Richie James and that's without Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting with Bourne, and you might not know what you're getting with Pettis, but he knows all the positions.
Right.
And I think at least from that standpoint, your quarterback can get in a rapport with them, and you can run a more efficient training camp practice instead of throwing in some rookies out there and guys don't know what the hell's going on and they can't get on the same page. Then you got beat writers saying it's a bad day for the Niners offense.
Yeah.
All that, and the fans being like, oh no, we suck again. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of my thoughts on all that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, man. Croc, man, I really appreciate you coming on, bro. If y'all don't know, man, Croc is way across the country. He's also still working remotely. He got a lot of shit going on right now. And he took time out of his day, man, to come be on Niners All Day. Man, I really appreciate you for being on here, bro. Like I said, man, you're doing a lot of stuff right now, man. And we are gracious for the people that we get to come on here, man, because we're new at this shit. Like, we only been doing this for 5 weeks. So, man, we appreciate you coming on. Y'all go check out the Croc Report. He has a lot of good shit, man. Yeah, bro. And like I said, man, we appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Oh, man, anytime, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, bro. Man, we appreciate you guys for coming on. This has been episode 14, man. You guys, man, go over there, man, and support Niners all Nothing But Niners, man. I think they're about to come on to the sucker Barack O'Niner who came on here and said that sucker shit, bro. You can never ever try to put us and Nothing But Niners in competition, bro, because that's our brothers, bro. I've been rocking with them for years. So that sucker shit was weird, bro. I really don't. I would not like you to come here no more. Like, we don't pin platforms against each other, bro. We help each other out. And so even with my stream ended, I'm going to tell everybody to go to Nothing But Niners because that's my brothers, bro. So that sucker shit that you did, Barack O'Niner, yeah, I would rather you not be here. You know what I'm saying? Because that was some weirdo shit, bro. We appreciate everybody who has been rocking with us, man. There's other things that you could have been doing, but you've been rocking with us, man. And it's not easy running a podcast. You guys might think it's easy, but it's a lot of shit that goes on. My brother Bronze, he had daddy duty today. He wasn't able to do it today, but man, appreciate him also because he does a lot of shit behind the scenes that I have no knowledge of. With that being said, man, stay faithful. Everybody has the right to their opinion. And we appreciate you guys for being here, man. We'll see y'all later. Peace.